All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will talk much more about the latest ISIS video where they showed that they burned alive the Jordanian pilot. The president's reaction to it, as we've been talking about earlier today with the panel. We have Michael Savage coming up in the next hour talking about that. Herb London will be here to talk about it and more. But first, the vaccine controversy goes on and rages on, and here's a unique perspective coming up from Dr. Russel Blaylock. But first, let's listen to the Senator, Rand Paul.
Here's the thing is that I think vaccines are one of the greatest medical breakthroughs that we had. I'm a big fan and a great fan of the history of the development of the smallpox vaccine, for example. But, you know, for most of our history, they have been voluntary. So I don't think I'm arguing for anything out of the ordinary. We're arguing for what most of our history has had. All
right, there you go. The debate continues. And joining us right now is Dr. Russel Blaylock, board-certified neurosurgeon and editor of the Blaylock Wellness Report. Doctor, a pleasure to speak to you, sir.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Where do you fall on this issue of vaccines? And, you know, we're all caught up right now with the reason it's in the news, of course, is the outbreak of measles. Do you believe that all these vaccines should be mandatory?
Absolutely not. That takes away one of the fundamental rights of people, individuals and families, and certainly parents. That is the protection of their children, and there's compelling scientific evidence that vaccines are not as safe as they're being proposed, that in fact there's significant serious problems, including deaths, seizures, encephalitis, severe brain damage. There's a number of problems associated with the vaccines. This is well documented in the medical literature. And unfortunately, the media has not been carrying this. They're pretending that this is completely safe. Now, you should not have the right to force my child to receive a vaccine when I think that could cause severe damage to my child.
Now, are you talking about, sir, all vaccinations? I mean, polio, the whole thing? Or are you talking about specific ones like, I don't know, like measles, like chickenpox, like HPV?
Well, I think the parents, in the case of every vaccine, should have that choice. Nobody should be forcibly vaccinated. Now, if you could demonstrate that vaccines never cause serious neurological damage or cause serious health issues, then fine, that's one thing. But they can't demonstrate that. And what we're seeing is a dramatic increase in autoimmune diseases since they've added so many vaccines to the vaccine schedule. We're seeing increased neurological damage. We're seeing increases in impairment in learning and memory and speech. So we're seeing a dramatic increase in all of these disorders as the number of vaccines increase. Children are getting 46 to 50 vaccines before they even start school. And most of these diseases for which they're being vaccinated against, the risk to the child and to the community is extremely small.
All right, doctor, let me ask you, because one of the arguments not only has been from the media and from some of the so-called experts that there are no scientific studies, but that those seem to focus on autism, or they say 1 in a million. But I didn't give my kid chickenpox. I didn't give my kid the HPV, even though they want me to give it to him. He's 15, and I say absolutely not. I didn't give him the Hep C. But let me ask you, what is it, am I wrong here? And if I am, tell me. Those who say you have to vaccinate these kids or you don't let them into school, if they're not vaccinated, but your kid is, if they get a disease, your kid won't because they're vaccinated. So I'm a little confused at what the risk is if everybody who wants to be vaccinated is vaccinated and those who aren't come in. What's the risk? Isn't it only to those who aren't vaccinated?
Well, you're exactly right, and this is the claim is, oh, I don't want my child exposed to a child that might have measles. Well, the claim of the CDC and these other vaccine proponents, particularly the manufacturers that are making the billions off of these vaccines, is that it's 99% effective. Well, the results from studies show there's nowhere near that effective. And when we look at the so-called outbreaks, in almost every case, most of the children had been vaccinated, and in many cases fully vaccinated for the measles vaccine. And there's about 5 or 6 of these cases. In one case, 100% of the children had been vaccinated, and yet they still had an outbreak. So they're not telling the truth when they say that you're fully protected, because you're not protected. And what we know from our studies where measles is a real killer, and that's in impoverished countries, that nutrition is the reason that it's such a killer over there, not over here. And that if you give these children vitamin A, for instance, the death rate is cut by almost 60%.
Well, Doctor, I'm sorry, we're running out of time. We won't have enough time for the other studies, but fascinating. I urge everyone to get the Blaylock Wellness Report. And Dr. Russel Blaylock, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, very interesting, and it's always good to hear that side because the media is only giving you the other side. We're coming back. Don't go away.